Have you ever looked at a repair bill that costs more than your monthly payment? It's a gut punch. Reliability isn't just about making it home, it's about keeping your wallet safe and your weekends actually fun. We aren't looking for the fastest bikes here. We're tracking high-mileage data, simple engineering, and parts you can actually find. But hold on, because the game has changed. It's not just the Japanese legends anymore. We've got 30 bikes to cover, including some new contenders that are challenging the old guard. Let's jump straight into the list. Number 30, the Royal Enfield Meteor 350. Forget the old reputation for vibrations. This uses the modern J-Series engine. Its reliability secret is simple: low power. The 349 cubic centimeter air oil cooled single pumps out just 20 horsepower, meaning internal components are under almost zero stress. You can run it wide open all day with lazy piston speeds and low compression. Owners report that if anything does rattle loose, it's usually a roadside fix with basic tools. It's not fast, but it gets you there every time. Number 29, the Kawasaki Vulcan S. This cruiser cheats by using a sport bike heart, the 649 cubic centimeter parallel twin from the Ninja 650. Kawasaki has built hundreds of thousands of these engines, ironing out every bug. Liquid cooling keeps tolerances tight, and because it's tuned for mid-range torque, it's not working hard at highway speeds. Sharing DNA with the Ninja means you can find parts anywhere. It's the safe bet for cruiser looks with Japanese sport bike dependability. Number 28 is the Moto Guzzi V7, the Italian tractor of motorcycles. Its longitudinal V-twin sticks the cylinders out into the wind for brilliant air cooling. The real hero is the shaft drive. No chain to clean or adjust. Just change the final drive oil occasionally. The build quality is heavy and over-engineered. It's not high-tech, but that's the point. Simple mechanics built to last. At 27, the Suzuki Boulevard C50 runs an 805 cubic centimeter V-twin that Suzuki has left unchanged for decades because it works. It's another water-cooled shaft-drive cruiser, perfect for commuters who hate maintenance. High-mileage owners note cam chain tensioners can get tired eventually, but the bottom end is solid rock. It punches above its weight in longevity by simply chugging along. Number 26 is the Triumph Speed Twin 900. Forget the leaky old British bikes. These modern liquid-cooled twins are different. Designed for high torque at low RPMs, you surf the power without redlining, minimizing wear. Triumph's 10,000-mile service intervals show their confidence. It's a modern classic you can rely on daily. Number 25 is the BMW R1100 and R1150GS oilheads. Before modern liquid cooling, BMW built these air and oil-cooled tanks. The cylinders stick out into the breeze, creating natural cooling with no radiator fan to fail. You can adjust the valves in a parking lot in 20 minutes. While final drive bearings need watching, the engines regularly run past 100,000 miles without internal surgery. They are simpler and more robust than their successors. Number 24 is the Honda ST1300, the police bike of choice for years. The longitudinal V4 engine is incredibly smooth and over-engineered. A massive alternator output means you can run heated gear and electronics without straining the charging system. It is heavy, but owners regularly see 100,000 miles with just routine maintenance. It is the definition of a set-it-and-forget-it motorcycle. At 23 is the Yamaha FJR1300. This bike detunes a massive 1,298 cubic centimeters inline-4 for longevity. Yamaha's legendary reliability figures are built on this machine. It uses a shaft drive and a robust subframe designed to handle heavy loads without flexing. The engine runs so smoothly it barely feels like it's working at highway speeds. You get sport bike speed without the stress. Number 22, the Kawasaki Concours 14. Kawasaki took their ZX14 Ninja engine and tuned it for torque. The variable valve timing. VT system is robust, and because the engine was designed for nearly 200 horsepower, touring stresses it at a fraction of its limit. With a heavy-duty transmission and shaft drive, it is a missile that refuses to blow up. Number 21 is the Suzuki Bandit 1250. This 1255 cubic centimeter inline 4 is famous for massive torque right off idle, keeping piston speeds low. Bulletproof is the most common word on owner forums. It uses a simple steel frame and basic suspension, meaning fewer components to fail. It proves you don't need high-tech materials to build a bike that lasts forever, just a big underworked engine. Now we introduce a curveball. We've looked at the Japanese and European giants, but modern Chinese engineering is entering the ring with some serious contenders. Number 20 introduces our first major Chinese challenger, the Voge 500 DSX. Now, before you roll your eyes, look at the engine. It uses the KE500 power plant. If that looks familiar, it's because it is a near-identical clone of Honda's legendary CB500 parallel twin. Voge didn't try to reinvent physics here. They simply reverse-engineered one of the most reliable engines ever made. Lansin, the parent company, has been manufacturing engines for BMW for years, so they know tolerances. The reliability logic is simple. If you copy a bulletproof design using modern CNC machinery, you get a bulletproof result. You are getting Honda-level engine architecture for thousands of dollars less, and in many markets, engine parts are actually interchangeable with the Honda originals. At number 19, we have the global standard for dual sport reliability, the Honda CRF300L. This bike is proof that low performance is the ultimate durability hack. It is a liquid-cooled single that absolutely refuses to die, mostly because it is so detuned. It doesn't make enough power to stress its own components. You can hold this thing at wide-open throttle on the highway for hours, and the engine just hums along happily. The service intervals are massive for a dirt-capable machine. We are talking 8,000 miles for oil changes. That is unheard of in the off-road world. It's not fast, but that is the secret. You can't hurt it because the electronics and the cam profile simply won't let you rev it to death. Coming in at number 18 is the Kawasaki Versys 650. We mentioned the Vulcan S earlier, and this uses that same unkillable 650 platform. But the Versys takes the reliability crown for being the ultimate commuter tool. This bike is designed to live its life at 75 miles per hour on the freeway and then smash through city potholes. The suspension and chassis components are overbuilt for street use because it masquerades as an adventure bike. After 15 years of production, there are effectively zero common catastrophic failures reported on owner forums. It's the appliance of the motorcycle world. It lacks drama, but it starts every single morning, rain or shine, without complaint. Number 17 is the platform that saved Yamaha, the MT-07 and its adventure sibling, the Tenere 700. The heart of this beast is the CP2 engine, or crossplane twin. This is widely considered Yamaha's modern masterpiece of reliability. The 270-degree crank provides a firing order that gives it character, but the internal balance is so good it doesn't shake itself apart. The Tenere 700 specifically has proven this engine's toughness. Owners are taking these bikes on 50,000-mile trips through mud, sand, and water crossings, often dropping them dozens of times, and the engine never skips a beat. It has become the modern benchmark for a mid-sized engine that can take serious abuse. At number 16, we have the Suzuki V-Strom 650. It might be the ugliest bike on this list, but the V-twin engine is practically immortal. This is the V-Strom, and it has been the secret weapon of long-distance couriers for 2 decades. The older models used gear-driven cams, which meant incredibly stable valve clearances that almost never moved. Even the modern chain-driven versions are rock solid. There are documented cases of couriers in London and Paris putting over 200,000 miles on these in grueling stop-and-go city traffic. It is a low-stress V-twin that runs cool, handles heavy loads, and simply ignores neglect. If you want a bike to survive the apocalypse, this is a top contender. Landing at number 15 is the CFMoto 800 MT. This bike represents a massive shift in the market because it challenges the stigma of Chinese manufacturing head-on. It doesn't use a cheap reverse-engineered clone engine. It uses the KTM LC8C platform, the exact same 790 and 890 architecture found in the Austrian adventure bikes. Why is this reliable? Because CFMoto has been the manufacturing partner building these engines for KTM for years. They mastered the technology and the quality control standards before they ever put their own badge on the tank. You're getting a proven European engine design that has been stress-tested by thousands of riders worldwide. But at a price point that makes sense. It addresses the Chinese junk myth by delivering a power plant that is functionally identical to one of the most respected engines in the adventure segment. At number 14, we have the Honda NC750X. Mechanics often joke that this is essentially half of a Honda Jazz car engine, and honestly, they aren't far off. The engineering philosophy here is completely different from a typical motorcycle. The rev limiter kicks in at just 6,500 RPM. For a motorcycle, that is incredibly low. This means the piston speeds are lazy and the internal components are never subjected to the high-frequency vibrations that kill other engines. It is designed for torque and efficiency, not speed. The famous frunk, the storage compartment where the gas tank usually sits, highlights the practical, commuter-first design. It's a tool meant to be ridden every single day, and because you can't physically over-rev it, the engine life is practically infinite. It might be boring to some, but it will outlive us all. Number 13 is the Yamaha Bolt. Yamaha saw the success of the Sportster and decided to build their own version, but they applied Japanese metric precision to the formula. It runs an air-cooled V-twin, which sounds old school, but the internals are thoroughly modern. Yamaha uses ceramic composite cylinder liners specifically to dissipate heat better than traditional steel sleeves, solving the overheating issues that often plague air-cooled cruisers in traffic. The maintenance schedule is fantastic. You don't even need to look at the valves for the first 16,000 miles. Plus, it uses a belt drive instead of a chain. That means no cleaning, no lubricating, and no adjusting every weekend. It captures that raw V-twin character, but leaves the oil leaks and roadside repairs in the past. Here is the biggest disruptor on the list. Number 12 is the Kove 450 Rally. This is a Chinese motorcycle that didn't just show up to the market. It showed up to the Dakar Rally, the toughest mechanical test on Earth, and finished. That is a massive statement for a new manufacturer. It uses a liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine designed specifically for abuse. Most manufacturers claim reliability based on heritage. Kove proved it by running 8,000 kilometers at full throttle through the desert sand. If an engine can survive the heat, dust, and punishment of the Dakar, it can handle your weekend trail ride without breaking a sweat. It proves that reliability comes from rigorous testing and validation, not just a brand logo. It is a race bike you can actually buy and trust. Rounding out this section at number 11 is the Honda Shadow 750. This is the liquid-cooled V-twin that Honda has spent over 30 years perfecting. It is the definition of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The combination of a shaft drive and a low compression ratio means this bike has infinite life. The shaft drive eliminates the weakest link in the drivetrain, the chain, and the liquid cooling keeps the tight tolerances consistent for decades. You will see 2004 models running just as smoothly as brand new 2024 models. The fuel-injected versions are particularly trouble-free, offering a classic cruiser experience that simply never fails. It's the bike you buy when you want to spend zero time in the garage and all your time riding. Number 10 is the cockroach of the motorcycle world, the Kawasaki KLR 650. You can drop it off a cliff, drown it in a river, or feed it the worst gasoline you can find, and it will still start. The secret to its survival is incredibly loose tolerances. That looseness allows it to keep running when tighter, high-performance engines would seize up from grit. The only Achilles heel is the famous doohickey, or balancer chain adjuster. It's a known weak point from the factory, but swap that out for an aftermarket part, and you effectively have a machine that will outlast civilization. It survives through pure, stubborn mechanical simplicity rather than precision. It is the default choice for round-the-world travelers on a budget for a very good reason. At number 9, we have the Suzuki DR650. While the KLR uses liquid cooling, the DR relies on Suzuki's legendary SACS system, air and oil cooling. This eliminates the radiator, which is usually the first thing to get crushed in a fall. No radiator means no coolant leaks and no broken fans. This bike has remained virtually unchanged since 1996, meaning you can buy a part for a 2024 model and bolt it onto a bike from the 90s. It uses a carburetor, which scares modern riders, but if you are stuck in the middle of nowhere, you can fix a carb with a screwdriver. You can't fix a fried fuel injection ECU on the trail. It is the definition of field repairable engineering. Number 8 is the farm bike that time forgot, the Yamaha TW200. This machine hasn't seen a major update since 1987 because it was perfect the day it rolled off the line. The massive rear tire acts as secondary suspension, absorbing shock that would otherwise rattle the chassis apart. The 196 cubic centimeter engine is understressed to a comical degree. It simply doesn't make enough power to overheat or wear out its components. First gear is geared so low that it could practically pull a stump out of the ground. It's the kind of bike you teach your kids to ride on, and then your grandkids learn on the exact same bike 30 years later. It is unkillable because it lives life in slow motion, refusing to brake under pressure. Coming in at number 7 is the Honda XR650L. This is a dinosaur in the best possible way, using Honda's air-cooled RFVC engine, radial 4-valve combustion. It's a big, thumping single-cylinder that has been powering Honda's dual sports for over 3 decades. It runs hot, but that simplicity is its armor. There are no water pumps to fail and no complex electronics to glitch out. Because it has been in production for so long, junkyards and dealerships across the globe are stocked with parts. If you break something on an XR650L, chances are there is a replacement waiting in the next town over, no matter where you are in the world. It prioritizes accessibility and durability over modern comfort. At number 6, we have a legend of German engineering, the BMW K75, known as the Flying Brick. The 3-cylinder engine is naturally balanced and smoother than its 4-cylinder brother. The longitudinal layout lays the engine flat, lowering the center of gravity and aligning the driveshaft perfectly with the rear wheel. This layout is more like a car engine than a motorcycle. The main bearings are massive, and the engine block is a structural part of the frame. It is not uncommon to see K75s with 300,000 miles on the odometer still running original compression numbers. Owners often claim it is the best engine BMW ever made, largely because it lacks the complexity that plagues their modern lineup. It is built to cover continents without a single mechanical hiccup. Entering the top 5, we have a machine that filters out the lazy riders immediately, the Yamaha SR400. This bike is unique because it is kickstart only. There is no electric starter motor to burn out, No starter clutch to fail, and if your battery dies, the bike doesn't care. It will start anyway. That level of mechanical independence is rare today. It uses a dry sump lubrication system, which stores the oil in the frame rather than the bottom of the engine. This keeps the engine profile lower and, more importantly, keeps the oil significantly cooler during hard use. It is effectively a time capsule of 1970s engineering built with superior modern materials. Yamaha kept it simple because they knew they couldn't improve on perfection. It vibrates, it's raw, and it requires a specific ritual to start. But once it's running, it is practically immortal. At number 4 is the modern benchmark for reliability, the Honda Rebel 500 and its siblings in the CB500 family. If you walk into any motorcycle riding school today, you will likely see these bikes. Why? Because they survive the worst abuse imaginable. Novice riders dump the clutch, stall them constantly, and ride the brakes, yet these engines refuse to quit. The 471 cubic centimeter parallel twin is flawless. It is tuned for a flat torque curve, meaning you don't have to wring its neck to get power. Honda's famous statistic of a low failure rate is largely carried by the massive success of this specific engine platform. It is the Honda Civic of the motorcycle world. It might not be the most exciting engine ever built, but it will start every single time you push the button for decades. Taking the bronze medal at number 3 is the Suzuki SV650. This is the bike that proves a sport bike doesn't have to be fragile. While inline-4 sport bikes often suffer from high RPM wear, the SV650's 90-degree V-twin is different. That 90-degree layout provides perfect primary balance without the need for heavy, complex balancer shafts that sap power and add failure points. Whether you are looking at a Generation 1 from 1999 or a brand new model, the engine is unstressable on the street. It produces so much torque down low that you rarely need to hit the red line during normal riding. It outlasts almost every other bike in the sport category simply because the engineering is naturally balanced and incredibly robust. Just missing the top spot at number 2 is the vehicle that mobilized the planet, the Honda Super Cub. With over 100 million units produced, this is the most tested vehicle in human history. The secret sauce here is the centrifugal clutch. It allows anyone to ride it without mastering a manual clutch lever, but mechanically, it prevents the rider from shocking the transmission. You can't stall it, and you can't jerky shift it enough to break the gears. The durability of the Super Cub is a global meme for a reason. There are videos of people running them on used cooking oil and throwing them off roofs, and they still fire up. It is the bedrock upon which Honda's reputation was built, proving that small and simple is often the smartest way to travel.
Another good time.
The undisputed king at number 1 is the Honda Goldwing GL1800. This isn't just a motorcycle, it is a car on 2 wheels, and that is why it lasts forever. The flat-six engine is smoother than a Porsche, and because it produces massive torque right off idle, the engine never works hard. It cruises at highway speeds barely above idle RPM. We aren't just talking about high mileage here. We are talking about Million Mile Joe, a courier who documented over 400,000 miles on his original engine. The low center of gravity reduces stress on the chassis, and the liquid cooling system is over-engineered to handle towing trailers. If you maintain a Goldwing, you don't just own it for a few years, you pass it down to your children. It is the ultimate expression of reliability engineering. Whether it's a 40-year-old Japanese dual sport or a brand new Chinese adventurer, the pattern is the same. Reliability comes from under-stressed engines and proven designs, not high price tags. But remember the reality check. Maintenance matters more than the logo on the tank. Even a Goldwing dies without oil. If you want to see the bikes that failed this test miserably, watch this video on the 10 worst engines ever made. Subscribe for more deep dives.